Well, hello, Craftin' buddies. It's Late Night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. Take 4. It was a struggle tonight to get on, let me tell you. The orientation wouldn't change. Ah, crazy. It took me 4 times to try to get this going. So I had changed the orientation and it wouldn't go through. And I decided to try to do a portrait, so I had to change my whole camera layout. It's a struggle, so I'm sorry I'm late. Normally I am here a few minutes earlier. I have been trying to get here earlier, and it seems the harder I try to get earlier, the later I am. So, whew, I think we're good to go. I am not using my wireless microphone tonight, and the picture does not look distorted. So I'm thinking the wireless mic might have been the problem. So, quick announcements while people might be finding me live because I am late. So, Advent, 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar. This looks like it's going to be really slick. It's a big book. There's 12 windows that you will open to count down to Christmas. It is not a Christmas crafting suite, if you will. It's an all occasion. As far as I'm aware, it comes with a stamp set. There's going to be never before seen dies, paper, embellishments, and other items that are not going to be in the catalog or in the online store. It's $99 in the US. If you have a crafting friend, that would make maybe a really good gift for a family member or a friend. World Card Making Day, this Saturday. Register. It's a free event. You'll have access to the live event. It runs from 3 to 4 it runs from 2 to 3 Mountain Time, 3 to 4 Central Time. That's where I'm at. I'm coming to you from Wisconsin. I don't think I said that. Got a little flustered with my technical difficulties. But this is designed, the craft along is designed for a specific kit in mind. If you haven't gotten the kit yet, go ahead and order it anyway. You can, if you register, you can access the live event afterwards. Usually those events are available for about 30 days after the event. Sometimes it's longer, so it's free. Why not, right? Starting on October 1st, we can begin our purchase of a live craft class that Stampin' Up! Is offering. They're going to feature the Traditions of Christmas suite. Now, I've mentioned the last few nights at least, I don't have the whole suite. These are the list of things that Stampin' Up! Will be using for the class. They'll provide PDFs of the project or projects. It is a $30 class, so I'm guessing there's going to be several projects. They have 4 pictures here, so maybe 4 projects. I don't know. I'll look and see if there's some more information on that. But that crafting class is October 23rd at 2 o'clock Mountain. Now, the most exciting news, and this will be my last announcement, Stampin' Up! Has got this awesome join deal that's starting October 1st for the month of October. Linda! Yeah, there you go. But register because it's free. And if you don't have the kit yet, the kits were still available when I looked earlier today, if you want the kit. It's a really cool box, like a desk organizer box, and then it comes with cards and envelopes. So there's slots in there where you can put like your pen or your postage stamps and that sort of thing. I have mine. I should have brought it out when you were over earlier. But anyway, the joining offer is really sweet. I've never seen one this inexpensive. So $125 worth of product for $35. You get some business supplies. You get a free paper pumpkin kit. and you get free shipping, as far as I'm aware. $90 worth of free product. And then another option, if you want something bigger to get, that might be over $125, like maybe that big Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you would not be able to purchase that on this one because it's more than $125. But you could get it here, and you're still getting $90 worth of free product. So that starts October 1st. Let me know if you have questions or if you're interested. I would be more than happy to give you more information. So last night, I cased these couple of cards from Stampin' Up. I made some minor differences. Stampin' Up had this one in a landscape. I did it as portrait. Used some different ribbon. Hello, Nicole. Welcome back. And then this one, it looked like they either had done this on a note card or probably a slimline card. So I just did mine on a standard 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Otherwise, my layout is pretty much the same. So tonight, hey Juju, welcome. Tonight, I'm going to use some of these velvet pieces that I didn't get to yesterday because I was done. I was just done. And tonight I'm going to be done too. If you gals weren't on here earlier, I don't think you were. It took me 4 tries to get my camera stuff to come up for YouTube. The orientation wouldn't work. It kept starting before I was ready. It wouldn't connect. 4 times. So I had 4 failed attempts. This is my 5th attempt. So anyway, I have a bunch of elements that I cut out last night on this velvet. And this velvet is really, really nice. It's thin. This is not adhesive. I wish they would have done it on adhesive, but you know, there's probably a reason why they couldn't. But it's very soft and very flexible. And it cuts out super nice. So you can see these cut just on 1 pass. I didn't have to run anything through twice. And you can see there's even slits in these leaves. It cut out really nice. This is cardstock, so don't count that. But these poinsettias were done in velvet, and it comes red, green, and white. Now, I did show yesterday where this got a little wet, sorry. I ran this through an embossing folder, and then I used my brayer, that silicone brayer, and I just added some color to this. I got a little heavy-handed on parts of it, but you know, you could always camouflage that with an element. But I would suggest using your heat gun to dry this. Otherwise, let it sit for a while. Prep this and then let it sit if you're going to try to colorize it, because it does need a lot of time to dry. The heat gun worked really well. So that's just a little sample. So let's see. Where do I want to begin? I think I want to do a cherry cobbler base. So let me grab that. I thought I had one out, but I thought wrong. And I'm just going to make some clusters with these items. And I'm going to score this at, I'm going to score it at 5.5 because I want it to be landscaped for this one. I've been doing a lot of landscaped ones this week. I don't know why. Whoops. And we'll do 4 1/4 here. I just have a lot of stuff flying around here. I'll move my embossing powder so that I don't make a mess with that. That would not be good. Blending brushes flying, spoons flying. All right, I just need to take a couple of deep breaths, I think. All right. So I had a couple of my gal pals over, my Stampin' buddies, today. We had a nice time. Mostly visited. Did a little bit of crafting. but it was nice. So Linda, I'm surprised you're actually on this late. Did you like the pictures I sent? We were, yeah, I probably shouldn't talk about it. We were just comparing some of our home space. We'll just leave it at that. All right, so I am going to, let's see, I am going to use this piece of white velvet. I did do this ahead of time, which is why I was a few minutes late too, because I was trying to get some of these things prepped. And I use the Peaceful Greenery embossing folder. So you can see how nice this embosses. And that's the same embossing folder. I used the same embossing folder that I did on this sample yesterday. So I think I'm going to put this here. Now I'm just going to lay this out before I start attaching things, because I didn't really lay this out before. So I'm not exactly sure how I want it to look. And I think these snowflakes I'm using for a different project. Okay. So I'm going to use, I had more of these. I wonder where they went. Oh, I see. Okay. So these are actually snowflake elements. So if you put several of them together, they make a snowflake. Okay. But to me, they kind of looked like pine boughs also. So that's what we're going to use them as. So we're just going to do some little bending or breaking. We could actually just break those off the circle, but I'm going to use those, I think, just to help mount things. And then I also want to cut a little circle to go behind these. You can see where the poinsettias have the holes in them, because I want to put yellow behind there, because poinsettias have yellow in them. Because this, when I mix these together, looks a little hideous to me. I don't like how that looks. So I'm not sure that those were supposed to be for the poinsettias, but there's no holly, so it's not like they're holly berries. All right. And I think we're going to put, these are in felt also, so I'm going to put a couple of these on here just for some extra color. And I'm going to mix these. Now this is shaded spruce and this is just green, but I think because trees are, you know, evergreens are different colors, I think this will be okay. And I don't know how symmetrical I want this to be. I think I might want a little bit more up there. And then I was wanting to see if this, if the circle on here would be big enough. Not quite. I thought I could do a die to cut that circle out, but I may just do a small square. That might work. So we're just gonna do a few of these. 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 of these. We'll see how it looks. And then I had cut out some pine cones. And of course I lost one of the dark brown ones, the early espresso. And so I figured, okay, I can't find it. It's not on the floor. I literally only walked 6 feet around my table and I couldn't find it. So I cut another one to replace it. And then as I came back, I saw it sitting in my recycle bin. So I'm still going to cut another one because I think I want 5. But this is going to be for the other project, so we'll just act like these aren't really here right now. We'll just put these off to the side. All right, so let's see if this works. I'm just going to use some tear and tape, I think, to put that on there. That might work. Tear and tape's kind of wide, but maybe if I cut it in half. We just never know what we're going to get when we go live like this sometimes, right? Experiment in creativity. All right. So I think that looks better than that, personally. I mean, I know those are pretty bright, but it looks kind of weird to me. Do those look weird to you guys or not? Do those look normal or weird? I'm just going to keep putting these. This is Darling Duckling that I'm putting on the back of here. And we'll just keep taping it on. Okay, so how was everybody's Monday? Anybody have anything exciting happen? My excitement was having my studio open. Once a month I try to have just an open studio time, so I call it MOST. Like, make the most of your Monday with Monday open studio time. And whoever can come over comes over with whatever they're working on. Linda, you are right. They aren't real poinsettias. That is a very good point. We'll see how the two different styles match up. Because on the glass mat, they don't match up so much in my mind, in my eye. But we'll see. They might look better once they're on the card. Oops. Another one I have to trim a little bit. I think those look better with the little Darling Duckling behind there than just having nothing behind there. I probably could have cut those a little bit bigger. They're like just the right size. Alright, I'm almost done. That's why I try to get some of the putsy stuff done ahead of time, because you guys probably get bored watching me just putz around. But I've told everybody before, I am a putsy stamper. I'm late and I'm putsy. So let's go back to this. And we're just going to start laying some of these poinsettias. Oh, there's another edge of the tear and tape. Once I take that tear and tape off, I can always fold over any edges. So we can put those on there. Now, I don't know. This one might not even look good on here because the style is so different. Maybe if I put two together. That looks better. What do you think of that? And then maybe I could put 2 or 3 of those on there, and then that would conceal some of the holes. Maybe 2 layers for that poinsettia will look better. So normally I would do, you know, a cluster of 3 or 5. So I've got the 4 little ones and the bigger one. I think 3 of those is probably a little overkill. But I do like the 2 layers of that poinsettia a little bit better. But this velvet is, it's definitely velvety. And these I did out of velvet just because they cut when I cut something else. But I don't think that works for this. All right, so those are going to be extra. And then we need to do a sentiment. So let's see what we have. I have this one, Words for the Season. So we've got, may your holiday season be filled with joy and happiness. That might be able to fit somewhere over there. May the magic of Christmas fill each corner of your heart, home and heart. Or we could just put on here, celebrate the season. I think maybe just celebrate the season. It'll be nice and simple. This one says it's the most magical time of the year, but that one's kind of small. So celebrate the season is already out on a block. Complete with lint or something on it. All right, so I want to emboss. And I think what we're gonna do is, let me get my cherry cobbler. So we could do, it's usually my struggle with your cards is finding the sentiment that fits. Yep. Yep, indeed. We could do cherry cobbler with Versamark and clear, or we could do gold or silver. I have gold here. I'm sure I have silver at my other table. I don't have silver handy. So we could do gold, or we could do the cherry cobbler. So let's go ahead with the cherry cobbler and see how it looks. Just gonna bring my power a little closer here. All right, there we go. So when I want to do a color as an embossed sentiment, I've done this before relatively recently. I load up on my Versamark first. And I know it's always going to be Versamark first because if I do the ink first and then put the Versamark on, I'm going to color my Versamark, and I don't want to do that. So that's how I remember what order I need to do it in. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink up. Oh, I suppose I better get my clear. I'll get the clear. Get all the things. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the cherry cobbler on there. We're going to stamp it. And because we put the Versamark on first, and then the color ink lands on the paper first, and the Versamark is up. So it will stick because the Versamark is a little slower drying than the other ink. And I'm just going to kind of let that sit there and soak in a little bit. And I'm always over generous, I think, with my powder because I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit maybe. I'm always a little over generous with my powder because I figure it's all going to go back in the container anyway. And I didn't bother with the embossing buddy because quite honestly, it's going to be embossed clear. And if there's a little over embossing, you know, over on the edges, nobody's going to see it anyway because it's clear. All right. We'll heat up the gun. And then hopefully you'll be able to see this change. You should be able to see it turn a nice brighter color because I'm using cherry cobbler. Hopefully you can see that change a little bit. All right. And it is all set. Hopefully you can see that. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my cherry cobbler alcohol blend. And we're going to do a little splatter on here in a minute. So let me get these embossing things out of the way. And we're going to trim this down. So let me move this out of the way. Let's give it a little bit more space in case we want to put like a little hole on the end for some twine. So when I try to line up a sentiment, hopefully, let me move over a little bit more, I will use the track where the blade goes as kind of my guide to see if I have it straight when it's this narrow, in addition to using the grid lines on here. So it looks like this was a little crooked, so we'll have to kind of wing it with the bottom. I think the bottom looked pretty good. And I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can cut this kind of straight to take off that little bit that looks like it's not level to me. That was pretty good. Usually I make a mess of it. All right. And then if we cut some of this off and then we'll do a flag at the end, we might, let's pull this back over here. Now yesterday's cards, oh, I got powder on here. How did I do that? I guess I'll vacuum that up later. Yesterday's cards I cased from Stampin' Up. This one was just coming out of my head. All right. So if I move those all up a little bit, because I didn't glue anything yet, luckily. We'll move this all up a little bit. And then I think, Selah, welcome. Are you feeling better? I hope. So I think this will look better here. So maybe we don't have to flag it, but I'm thinking maybe a border around that would look good. Or like a little banner. Do you think we should do the Darling Duckling? Let's cut it and see what it looks like. We could bring out the yellow from those poinsettias and nestle it in there a little bit. We'll move these so that that comes up. But what do you think of the yellow behind there, the Darling Duckling? Or we could do, well, I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better, Selah. Or we could do, ooh, maybe we'll use some of this velvet as a ribbon. And when I cut this velvet before on my trimmer, I turned it so that the paper side was up, and it cut really nice, clearly. And then if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8, if I do maybe 3/8, that's going to be pretty narrow. Let's just see how that looks. If it's not big enough. Yeah, I think the yellow does help bring out the yellow of the poinsettias. Or we could do both even. Oh, my velvet's a little crooked too. It's wider on this end than it is over here, but I can fix that. Oh, and I need to try to stay up in the frame, sorry. Oh, green would be good too. Let me go get some of that. So as the velvet or as the back piece? As the ribbon or as the back piece? Because I'm thinking if we kind of shift these around, we can get a little bit of this pine bough to be on top of there in a subtle kind of way, not in an obnoxious kind of way, but we would lay that out a little bit better there. Let's get this out of the way. What do you think of the yellow with the red velvet behind it? Should I make a strip of the green? Let's see what the green looks like. I'll try to be better at cutting that strip straight. So if we take this out and put this in, then we have both the green and the yellow. What do you think? I like the green. What do you think? Green with yellow, red with yellow? It's too early for decision making. Well, it's not quite 1 a.m. here. I know you're later, but it's still early. All right. The green, do you think the green is better? Green. Green it is. I think that's 3 for green. I like the green. Linda likes the green. Sala suggested the green. So I think that'll work. All right. So let's put these items together first. And I'm going to use some tear and tape on here. Yeah, it might look a little lonely. It doesn't look as warm. I think the green makes it look warmer, a little more welcoming. So the green, the yellow looks lonely. Does it look all right with the green though? Together or not? Or should I just use the green? See, I think the yellow kind of helps bring out the yellow and the poinsettias. Is that what we're liking? Or maybe the green is just a little too wide. Let's make it a little narrower. Together, okay. So I made it a little narrower. So there's just like a 1/16 of an inch on each side. All right, let's do that. So that's about in the middle. That's about the middle. I'm just trying to line this up so I'm pretty much the same. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, got lucky. All right, and then let's put a little bit of tear and tape on the back here. Because I think the tear and tape will work better than glue onto the velvet, hopefully. We'll see. Come on, I want it to shift just a little bit. There, I think that's pretty close. Yeah, I think the narrow version is a little bit better. But I got it a little off center. I could try to cut just a little smidgen. When they're narrow strips like that, sometimes it's hard for me to get them lined up quite how I want them. That looks pretty good, I think. All right. So now let's start putting these things together. I'm going to put we had wild wheat, and since you're not in our market, you're probably not familiar with it, but it kind of reminded me initially of baby poop, like newborn baby ucky mustardy colored poop. But then when I started, because I get all the colors, being a demonstrator, I want people to be able to see them. So when I started using it more in my projects, I found that it really picked up and accented some of the other colors quite nicely. So sometimes it's just a matter of you have to use colors you wouldn't normally be gravitating to and just use them. I think I'm going to use tear and tape on the back of there too. I think that's just going to work a little bit better than like a glue dot. I typically don't wear yellow for clothing because I'm very fair-skinned. My hair used to be red. It's starting to get lighter as more white hair comes in. I'm going to kind of keep these clustered so I kind of remember how I had them. And then these I'll kind of lay here like so. And then these can just go there. Yeah, I need I like the vibrant colors. One set of our in colors a few years back were just super bright, brilliant colors. So I'm going to kind of keep this close by that sentiment. And I think maybe if I crisscross these, that might work a little bit better, because I want some of that to be on top of our sentiment. So if I put the sentiment maybe up on dimensionals, that might, hopefully it'll stick good to the velvet. I'm going to put more than I would normally put because it's going on velvet, because the white is velvet. All right, and then let's tear and tape the back of this. And I'm going to start at this circle, and I'm just going to put some flat across here. There's going to be other stuff on top of it, so I think it'll be fine if some of the tape is still sticky through the branches. So let's just put that up there. This one can kind of still move a little bit for our sentiment. And then here we're just going to put a little bit here. And again, I'm not going to worry about the parent tape being wider than the element because there's going to be stuff on top of it. So hopefully it'll be, yes, it's velvet. The poinsettias are velvet. These pieces are not. These are cardstock, but this is velvet and the white is velvet. Can you see that? And it embossed. And I colored it last night. So I dripped water on it. I made a mess of it. But you can actually use the brayer to add color. Just use your heat gun to help it dry, or start it and let it set off to the side. So yes, this is velvet. You get 6 pieces, 2 each of the red, green, and white. Yep, velvet. And it is, I mean, it's very soft. It's it's really quite nice. Excuse me. I may have to go get some more water because I didn't realize that my water bottle was like empty here. Okay, I'm trying to get the backing of this tear and tape off. There we go. All right, so my pine bough pieces here are actually snowflake elements. So those are these. I did those out of cardstock. So when you put 3 or 4 of them together, it makes a snowflake. I'm using them as pine boughs. Okay. And then we're going to put these on. And this is like our cherry cobbler, which is, it's deeper than a red. It's not a bright red. It's cherry cobbler. I could go get the bright red and you could probably see the difference. But let's go ahead and lay, this is going to be like so, somehow-ish. So I want this. It shouldn't really take this long to put all this stuff together, right? But it does because I'm putsy. All right. Let's put little dimensionals on this. I think that'll work. Yeah, this is really nice and thin. I mean, it's thin. It's thin and very flexible. It's paper backed, not adhesive backed, but paper. But it's really nice. All right. And I'm sorry if I keep going off the screen. I have it zoomed in and I forget to stay up higher. All right, so we're just gonna lay those on there. Hopefully they seem like they're sticking really nice. And we'll put this one on. These are extra pieces again. I'm gonna push those off to the side. And I'm using the mini dimensionals here. If you don't have mini ones, just cut the big ones in half. But these green pieces are velvet. All 3 of these are velvet. And I don't know if you can see it, but there are slits in here from the die. Oh, I have a dimensional there. But even the slits cut so nice and clean. So it cuts really nice. When I put it in my trimmer, I put the paper side up thinking that it might save my blade. I don't know if it does. But when you put it in the die cut machine, obviously you have to put it with the side up that you want up. But they cut out clean with one swipe. I did not even swipe them twice. I did a single swipe. Hang on just a second here. All right. And then we have one more. And I guess I can move that out of the way. I don't really need that right now. I'm going to move this down a little bit because I had it hanging over the edge. I think that'll work. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stick this down because I think everything else I can tuck behind it well enough. So Sala is in Finland, and they don't have, it's not a Stampin' Up! Market, but we did just get authorization to sell to open markets. So Sala, if you wanted to order something like from my store, you would have to put in a US based address. And then like you would have to like get my mailing address so that it would ship to me. You would go through and you would do your order. There's probably like automatic currency exchange so that it would be in your dollars for Finland, not US dollars is my guess. But then you'd have it shipped to me. And I did some, just some estimated shipping. So it would cost however much it costs to ship from Stampin' Up! To me, which is 11% of the purchase price. And then I figured shipping for like £1 from here to a random zip code in Finland, and it was around $10, 10 US dollars. I don't know what that would be for Finland. But there. All right, now these pieces are next. And how are we going to put those little girls on there? Actually, I had those behind before, didn't I? So I think we'll try some little strips of dimensionals. Oops. I think that'll work. Just 2 of them should probably work. The dimensionals seem to be sticking pretty well on this velvet. So let's just tuck this behind here. I should have put that on before the greenery pieces, but that's all right. And maybe I should just stick this on now too. I'm going to go ahead and use tear tape for this as well. Yes, it has to ship to, and I look in, for Australia, look in your weekly updates. Yours may have been different, but if you saw the announcement that you can sell to open markets, the announcement was in there about it has to be an address in the market where you sell. So if let's say Sala from Finland was to purchase from me in the US, she would have to use a US clearinghouse to take care of it for her, or ship to me, and then I would ship to her. So it would take a little bit longer because we have to ship from Utah to me, which sometimes can take about 10 days. And then I would have to ship from here to Finland. 25.5% extra for a whole cost. Yeah, that it does kind of price things out of a lot of people's ability to purchase like that. But the idea is, if there are people that are interested in doing this, then Stampin' Up! Will look to see what other markets they should look to have demonstratorships in. So, it's a learning curve for them as well. And I'm sure there's some kind of SEC, which is the Security Exchange Commission in the US, that restricts where they can sell and how they can ship it there. I don't know how all that works anymore. I used to work in a bank and I knew a little bit more of those things, but I don't anymore. But like if I send a card to Australia, just to send a greeting card to someone, it cost me, I think, $1.23, so about 50 cents more, because I think we're at like 73 or 76 cents or something. I don't even know what we're at anymore. All right, and then these I'm going to start laying on here, and I'm going to use dimensionals for these too, because they're going to go where other things are not on dimensionals. And we'll just use this one to kind of camouflage that. Does that still look okay since we moved it around? And then we'll have to find some embellishments, of course. Does that look all right? Does it look too poised, too staged? I think I'll go ahead and put this one on. Oh, let's take this tear and tape off. I'm trying to get that release paper off because I don't want it to come off accidentally. Oh, come on. It's so narrow. There we go. I don't want the release paper to come off accidentally with the dimensional. That other release paper is covered by the tear and tape that I just took off. All right, then I think this is the next one to go underneath. So I'm just taking the release paper off of the top layer of tear and tape. Who knew this one card was going to take this long? Now you know why I didn't have a lot of these, or why I didn't wait to die cut a lot of these pieces. Otherwise we would have been even longer. I think that's good. Holy cow, $15? Mine was pretty flat. That's a lot. A typical postcard would be about $3. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I haven't checked to see what it would cost to send something to Finland just for postage. I was looking at like, you know, a 1 pound package because most of the things, you know, like a stamp set or something, I figured would be less than a pound. So that's what I kind of estimated on. I'm just putting 2 pieces on that one. All right, last one coming up. And I'm going to put more because these are overlaying each other. All right. Hopefully that's all right. Maybe I want these petals out. I thought tucking them under would look good, but I think having them out is better. All right, everything's on there really good. It's not coming off. Let me get rid of some of my debris. And let's find some embellishments. And I'm thinking just, oh, these might be pretty. These kind of look like snowflakes. Can you see those? These are the iridescent faceted gems. I used these last night too, I think, which is why they're out. I think just a couple of those might look pretty. Oh, and I was gonna do maybe a splatter, but I think that might ruin kind of the more sophisticated look. Thank you, Linda. Let's tuck a little bigger one under here. A little subtlety peeking through there. Maybe poke one in there. So that's 4, 5. I think it needs more. We'll do one more big one, and we'll kind of tuck it under there. I don't usually put that many, but I think it just needed the sparkle. Does that show? So this was not a cased card. This was just a card that when I started cutting some of these pieces and laying them down on the velvet, just kind of came together. And some collaboration with all of you. Are you out, Linda? I said have a terrific Tuesday. All right, so hopefully you can see the glimmer there. Hopefully it shows. But I think the green with the yellow there, I think that was a good choice. All right, so let's do one more quickie little card here, if you're up to it. And if you're not, you can catch it on a replay. This one's going to be kind of cased. Let me put a couple of these things away. I'm kind of following the Stampin' Up! Design. And I've got some thick basic white or a card base. Thank you, Sal. I'm glad you like it. And this is from the Gathering Together. Yep, Gathering Together Specialty Designer Series paper. So this is just a basic beige background. And I think I'm going to trim this down just a little bit more. So I'm going to go to 4 and 5 1/4. I cut it a little generous because I wasn't sure if I was going to have like another layer of color, but I still want to see the white frame around here. I think to me, when I have designer series paper that goes like all the way to the edge, it just doesn't look finished to me somehow. I really like the framing. So we're going to put this here, and we're going to pull in, some other elements here. I've got a couple more of these sprigs, so I'm going to just break them off of that center piece. And we're going to just kind of put them on here. And then we're going to use some snowflakes. Now, these are using the designer series paper, and this is the Elegant Pine snowflakes. So I use the dies. So this is the Delicate Pines dies, and I cut out the big ones with this die, and I cut out some smaller ones with this die here. So these two. And then this is the piece that I made for my pine boughs. All right, so that cut those two together. Well, it's supposed to be snowflakes, but I made them pine boughs. All right, so I don't know if I want to use the dark snowflakes or the lighter snowflakes, or maybe both. That might be kind of fun. I want these pine boughs poking out though. Let's go a little down here. I don't want it to look like all boxy. All right, and then these I could pop up like this. Last night's card, this one, I used this piece here, this smaller one, and I put it up on dimensionals. So I think that's what I'm going to do here as well. So I can do that and get that piece done. And let me move up so that I'm on screen so you can see what I'm doing again. So the other thing, last night I think I showed the the trio of sprigs here. There's actually a die to cut them out. And I did a bunch of them. There's like two different colors. There's the old olive and mossy meadow version. And then there's the like pretty peacock Lost Lagoon ones. And I have to tell you, it was a lot of work die cutting these little pieces because there's only one little die to do that. And basically what it was for is to add some depth here to put them up on dimensionals right there. So it was a lot of effort to get that done. So I think I'm going to use them just because I cut them out. I went to all that trouble. So I think we'll go ahead and put those on. And this one will kind of come here. And let's offset these a little bit more so it doesn't look so... Or do we want to use smaller ones instead of that big one? Maybe that would look better. What do you think? This is a bit random, but I must say I enjoy your lives so much. Oh, I'm so glad, Zala. That is so nice to hear. When I started doing these in January, I challenged myself to go live every day. and I wasn't sure how long I'd be able to keep it up because going live every day is kind of a lot. But I'm a collector of Stampin' Up! Things. And I figured if I did a live a day, I'm using more of my things. And I'm finding that I'm doing things that I wouldn't normally have even thought of just because I'm playing with this stuff. So I'm cutting out stuff and I'm laying it down and I'm using different colors. And like I said, I'm a putsy stamper, so this is my relaxation time. So I'm glad that you can come and share that. That makes me feel good. All right, so let's see if we might not even want that dark one on here. It might be a little too bold for this card. And I think I would want the bigger one on the top, actually. And that's kind of how the sample is from Stampin' Up! They actually used a couple smaller ones. All right, so that looks a little busy to me. So what we could do to break it up is we're going to use some of these pine cones for sure. So if we put some pine cones up on here and maybe put the pine bough up on top of one of those snowflakes. I just used a partial snowflake there just to use it up. All right, and then we can use a couple more pine cones, and let's glue these together. Yes, there are 2 sheets of each color in the velvet. But if there were other things you wanted to purchase, it might make it worth it for you. It depends on how badly you might want something. Oh, and I need to kind of work up here a little bit more. I just had a little bit of glue seep through. So I'm trying to use that eraser to get it off, but I'm going to just use my embossing buddy to dry that off. Well, Selah, if you want to send me your area code, or your zip code, I mean, not your area code, your zip code, I can do some pricing. And I use pirate ship, so it goes by how many ounces it is, how many pounds, how big the package is. And, you know, if we made it into a smaller package, maybe it might be more economical. I mean, if that was something that you really wanted that you couldn't get by you. Oh, Fifi, welcome. All right, so there's another pine cone. The sample shows 5 of them. So if I need 5, I need to cut out 1 more because I started with just 3. And then I lost part of one, so then I cut another one, and then I found it. Did you get my email, Fifi? I missed your Make It Monday again. And I was even telling my husband, oh, I've got to be back by, you know, 9 o'clock my time, and I don't know what I was doing, because I had my studio open today. And then he and I went and got something to eat because I didn't feel like cooking at that point, right? What do you think with just 4? Do I need a 5th one? I think it was a little naked with just 3. Or I could just tuck a couple of these little ones from the designer series paper in there too. That might be kind of fun. They actually work a little better for here. I'm going to use the ones that I actually did some ink blending on, because I didn't care for them. Yes, I would like to see the picture of the house card. Oh, the Hey Chuck, or Hey Check, yep. So I wasn't real fond of the white outline because the die cut didn't get as close to the image as I wanted. So I did some ink blending on there. So I don't know if we want to do poinsettias on here too. Not this one. Or if we just want to do a pop of red with the velvet here. And then I'm going to put a sentiment probably in the middle. And the sample uses early espresso and gold. So let me get another piece of early espresso. Scrap here. I'm going to move this up. I think these dark snowflakes I need to use for something else because I think they're just too bold. Juju was here. I'm not sure if she's still here. There have been people kind of popping on and off. She was chit-chatting with us earlier. If she said goodbye, I missed it. We could probably put a couple little snowflakes down here too. That's a lot going on with that card. What do you think? Too much? I think it's kind of fun myself. So these are all little extras that I'm going to save for another Lori leftover episode. And then these little snowflakes we'll use for something else too. Oh, thank you, Fifi. This is it's loosely cased from the online stuff. From the online examples. So I'm not going to cut out another pine cone there because I use those 2 other little ones. But I am thinking maybe I should cut out another one of the berries. What do you think? And that was from the branching out die set. Was it? Yes. Or maybe I won't use the velvet at all because I have some already cut. You made it a chicken coop. Oh, I gotta see that. I really wanted to come. Not that I was gonna make the card, but I wanted to just see how you explained it to everybody and how they interpreted everything. Did theirs turn out good? I'm guessing they did. All right, so let's just break a couple of these up. Yep, cleaning the old craft room. So I'm just, because I'm pulling in the cherry cobbler because there's berries there as well. I just want to have a little bit peeking out, I think. No, that one I don't like how it looks. I must have ripped it there. Let's just take another tip piece. Yeah, it's cherry cobbler. It's not real red, but it's the red tones. I think it helps to bring out the red that's in with those. I think, is that enough with the 3? You guys can think on that, and I'm going to take a look at Warmest Winter Wishes is what the sample shows. So I'm just going to move this up a little bit. And we're going to get the Versamark again. 2 more sprigs? Yeah, I can do that. We have the ability to do that. Oops, that's kind of hiding under there. These will get moved around when I finally start gluing everything anyway. But these I'll kind of put together maybe so it doesn't look so orchestrated. I want it to look kind of random. All right, so let's do some Versamark on here. Oh, and I need to embossing buddy this one. At first when he said 2 more, I thought you wanted me to do 2 more cards. And it's like, I don't have 2 more cards in my head right now. But you meant the sprigs. I was kind of relieved. Oh, that must be what was just coming through, was the text, because my phone was binging at me. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put Warmest Wishes on here. That's right. Can you hear it bing? During my live? I can hear it. I don't have 2 more cards in my head. What am I going to do? Looks like I got it all. All right, let's see. Yes, you can hear it. Sorry. So you know I must not be all that popular at 1:30 in the morning, because I think that's the first bing bing I got. I like to wait till my heat gun's warmed up before I start it on the paper. Check out that magic. I love that. Beautiful. Think we got it all? Yep, blame Fifi. All right. So she, with her Crafty Gals, if you were here the other night when I did the house card, she did that with her Craftin Gals tonight. All right, so I'm gonna find my dies for this. Let's see. I think rather than manually cut the flags on here, I'm gonna follow the sample from Stampin' Up, and they used the Stylish Shapes dies. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's get our little Betsy out here. Yeah, I thought the house card was really quite fun. Hopefully, come on, there we go. think it might have gotten a little crooked because of my little warped plate under here. Let's pull in some washi tape. Because I'm too lazy or cheap to change my bottom plate. On the embossing machine, the big one that I use all the time, that bottom plate is not warped. I don't know why. Sometimes I think when I run the plate forward and then bring it back right away, it messes with the rollers. That still looks a little crooked because my washi tape came loose. All right. Yeah, I will definitely be making more of that house card because I think once you've made the first one, they get easier. Because really, there's hardly any pieces to it. All right, so there's that. And I don't know how to check the text messages on my phone. I mean on my watch. Here we go. Can you, I don't know if you can see her little card there on my watch. She made it as a chicken coop. Oh, there. Look at that. She did a chicken coop. Fun. All right, let me see if there's another view. Yep, there's the other view. Whoops, there. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Fun. Very fun. All right, back to work. Back to work. All righty. So, we got a lot going on here, so I'm going to have to figure out what layers are going to be glued and what layers are going to be on top. So this one's going to be on top. The sprigs are going to kind of be on the bottom. Chicken wire on the back. Did you send me more than 2 pictures? Oh, the cornstalk on the fence. Yeah, that's one of my favorite series of stamps. And I have the Hey Chuck one too. And that was before I became a chicken mom. I loved those. And my niece in Arizona was a chicken mom, and I think I might have originally gotten them to do something for her. Okay, you sent me 9. They might not all populate on my little watch here. And I can't take my phone and look because I use my phone for this. All right, so I'm going to tuck these pine cones in after because they're little. And we're just going to hope that this stuff kind of works. Whoops. I suppose I should have put that layer on my card right away, huh? Oh, well. And I'm just doing a lot of these with the seal because I know it's going to be covered. I don't really care a whole lot. This is an extra, that's an extra piece. So I'm going to wait on this one. I'm going to wait on these pine cones because I can tuck them. All right. So let's start with this. Because there's a layer already raised up on here, I'm going to glue this kind of flat on the card. Peppa Pig. That's funny. Now I'm going to have Peppa Pig in my head. Our granddaughter likes to watch Peppa Pig. All right. We're just going to keep tucking some of these things under there. And this one's going to come here. And this little partial piece, maybe I don't even need it. Because that does make it a little busier. Maybe I won't even use that partial piece. We'll just put more sprigs up here. And maybe a couple more snowflakes down there. Where'd I go? Seal. All right. And I thought I had another little snowflake. Oh, I do right here. I think I'm going to use a dimensional for that one. I have one more little dimensional on that sheet. Oops, I guess I have to take the backing off of that, huh? All right, so let's put some, let's just put some glue. And this is thick basic white. Whoops. Keep that at the top. I want the bigger snowflake at the top. So I always use the thick basic white when I'm using a white card base. And you know, that might have looked better. I'm gonna do another layer of yeah, cherry cobbler. And I'm just going to border that ever so slightly. I'm going to put it pretty close to the edge. And then I'm going to gut the middle. Oh, and here's the stamp I was looking for. If my other Linda's here, I found the stamp that I needed for Jill. I knew I had it. I knew I had it out. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I'm going to take this over to my other machine, so talk amongst yourselves right now. So now I have a nice little layer that these might look good on. Or maybe just one. We'll go really simple. When I use two of these, it really takes away. It doesn't, unless I layered them. If I raised them up, it might work. But I might hang on to this for those. All right, so let's go ahead and put a little bit more glue on here. And hopefully this will give me a nice little narrow border to set off that designer series paper. That's going to have to be good enough. All right, let's put a little bit glue on here. More bing binging going on? Yes, more bing binging. All right. So I think the cherry cobbler behind here just helps kind of bring that designer series paper to the forefront here. Trying to shift it down just a little bit here. There, that'll work. That'll work. I think I like it better with that border. It looked kind of plain. All right, so let's see what else we have. We've got, whoops, I can't pick it up here. My other snowflake that I'm going to put up on dimensionals. All right, so I'm not taking the backings off of these yet because I want to make sure that I have the ability to tuck those items that need to be tucked. So this one I need to trim a little bit off of that edge there because there were like corner edges. We'll put a little bit of glue on here. And we'll tuck this in there. And we're going to tuck a little pine cone in here, and I'm going to put that up a little bit on a dimensional and then a little bit on a glue. So that there's some dimension there. All right, so this is still not attached. Well, except I got tear and tape down there, so it took the backing piece off of there anyway. It's almost attached. All right, let's put that back on there. All right. So then we can put that there with, maybe I'll put that there instead and then put these couple of pine cones here. And then we just need a place for, in fact, let's put these pine cones down here because our sentiment, now it looks nice in person. It looks really dark on here, but it looks nice when you're looking at it in person. So I'm going to put dimensionals on this side. Let's move this up here so you can see what I'm doing again. And then I think from there over, I'm going to need to have glue to go on the snowflake. So let's go ahead and actually put this down so that my seal doesn't keep taking off the backings. And then we'll tuck these under here. This one I'm just going to glue flat. The other one I'll put up on a dimensional, kind of like I did that first bigger pine cone. And I'm just kind of curling it a little bit. So that it'll set up naturally with that dimensional. All right, so those snowflakes are on. Everything else is attached. So I think I need another cherry cobbler sprig. And I don't know where the, okay, here it is. I don't need my seal out anymore. I think I might have lost a sprig or used it. 2, 3, 4. Because now I'm back to the one where there was a weird edge on it. There. Official shake test. Yep. If nothing falls off, we should be good. That had a lot of little pieces on it, so I was trying to keep them contained. All right, and then this will go there. Now, the other thing to consider is, do we want some baker's twine? Or, I think the dark early espresso is kind of dark. But we do have some of the more natural stuff that would pull out that background. Now, see how curly that is? Because this is a new roll. If it's too curly to work with, just straighten it out. And I'm just running my fingernail on there. Normally, like on birthday kind of ribbon, when you put your fingernail like that, it curls it up. How would a thinner banner look like? Do you have a scrap to test with? If I use a thinner banner, then I can't use the banner die that I used, because this has stitch edging on it. And I think this one might be too small, you know? Although if I could put 2 slits in here and bring some ribbon out, or use some velvet here. I'm just wanting to use this velvet. I kind of like it with the velvet. Maybe we'll do that. But then I already have my dimensionals on there. Well, we'll just take this one off. Yeah, if I cut the banner thinner, it's going to take, I'd have to cut everything because of the stitched element from that Stylish Shapes die. And then this other one is too short. It would cut off some of the letters. Although I could have tried to make it smaller by using the die twice on here, but then I'm afraid the lines won't match up either. Textured notes, let's see. That one doesn't have a banner, it just has, I mean, it doesn't have a flagged banner. I mean, it does have, I mean, that one would work, but it's just going to be a plain old box. And I actually kind of like it with the flagged end. Now, if I cut off all of that flagged ends, we could make it smaller. But then it just won't have the stitched element. Let me put those away. And then let's get the trimmer out. So where did this one come from? Oh, that's from my, see, I didn't do my head count before I put it away. Well, yes, more of this stuff would show, but it's also very busy. So do you want more of this stuff to show, or do you want to tone it down a little bit? So toning it down a little bit was kind of my thought process, because that's a lot going on. So that would be like that. Cut one or the other and lay it on there to see what it looks like. Let's see, that's too small now here. I'm just looking for a scrap. So if we basically need at least 3/4 of an inch. And this is an inch. And you need 3/4 because the T goes up to there. So, oops. What am I looking for here? Go Lush. All right, let's get out that gold again. Okay. All right, this one I'm going to have to use my little reverse tweezers on. All right, so I was just trying to read a couple of the comments here. Alrighty. Embossing powder is so fun. Fussy cut? Did I hear fussy cussing? It's almost 2 in the morning here. I don't think I'm up for fussy cutting. All right, so I'm gonna have to make this a little narrower. To take off about that much so it's centered. And I didn't get that quite in the center where I want it. There we go. Narrower, 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 narrower. And then I need to cut this a little bit if we're going to use this because it's a little thicker on the one end. All right. I meant to die cut the piece using textured notes die. Oh, well, I figured we were probably going to vote on keeping this one. The only thing with this one is that it no longer has the stitch edging, which was really kind of nice. And if we want to put that little bit of velvet behind it, or let me get rid of some of these scraps that we don't need. Well, I figured making it narrower, everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but since there were more than one person who was saying narrower, I figured we'd end up going narrower anyway, so I may as well just do it. Right? Why fight it? And then we could actually put a little bit of the twine behind here. We'll give it a rustic, elegant look. What do you think of that? So there's the narrower, there's the bigger. So now with the bigger, that layer of velvet strip is not big enough, so that strip is better suited for the narrow piece. And then if we're going to do, I wonder if any of this rub-on would be good. Just to do like some splatter stuff on there. Nah. Too much stuff here. Let's take a look. I am bound and determined to use some of these little buttons here. They're so heavy they kept coming off the sheet. And I never said anything to Stampin' Up! Because I figured it didn't really matter. Yeah, I figured the little one would win out. So there's the bigger one. There's the littler one. I just wish the littler one could have had the stitched edges. Well, I could try to do it with this die. It might actually work because the piece that's cut out is only slightly bigger. Let's run this through. Oh, I know. Let's run it through on the bigger one. That way if it doesn't work out, then I still have the little one to fall back on. Yeah, the red rhinestones would have been all right, except that this is cherry cobbler. And the red rhinestones would, I think, have been too much contrast. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I still want one more. I'll put it down here. All right, so let's get out the little Betsy here. Yeah, I could have. Could have colored. And now that I'm looking closer at the sample that Stampin' Up! Has on here, they actually use the gold sequins. No, I'm not going to hate you guys after this. This is fun. Stampin' Up! Used gold sequins on there, and then it does look like they use this narrow banner. Now that I'm looking at it, because the T has the stitched holes going right through it. So I'm gonna give it a whirl here. The shiny white ones, the pearl, take pearl ones that I used the other night, or the ones that these are like snowflake ones. I think I'm going to like this better now with the stitched edges. Just because those straight cut edges just didn't look as nice. Now winter is cut off a little bit. Just can't win. Let's try it again here. Oops. If I put the die in here, let's see. Yeah, those sparkly white ones, they might work on there, huh? Maybe. Yeah, my glue dot stayed on there. Yeah, my glue dot's staying on. I think we're stuck with these little starburst ones because my glue dots don't want to come off. All right, let's get this figured out here. So if I put this like this and then lay this in here, so it looks like I'm just trying to see where I have to have the letters lined up on the die. All right, let's give this a whirl. We'll see how close I come. Keep your fingers crossed. I don't see any gold embossing on here. We might have it. Oh yeah. There we go. So now it looks more finished. I'm happier with that one than just the plain one that was cut. Glue book fodder, huh? Were you getting messy tonight? I'm going to put some of these pieces away here. Stylish shapes. All right. Because I got a little bit of a mess going on here still, don't I? All right. So if we wanted to use some of those iridescent faceted ones, so let's pop this off. And we'll just put that right on top there. Just trying to get it right where that other glue dot was. Well, see, I didn't need to fussy cut then, Juju, because you were fussy cutting on my behalf tonight. A couple of these I can salvage, maybe. Nope, not anymore. Because all the stickum is off. I don't know if that one's, no, that one's not going to stick. And I'm not going to fight with glue dots for them. It's just not something I want to do. All right. I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's put this together. Yeah, I could glue them on, except I already dumped them in the garbage can. Mine never seem to cooperate very well. So I'm going to go ahead and use some tear and tape to get this onto our velvet. And then let's go ahead and get that off. I suppose it doesn't matter if it's right side up or upside down. All right, and then we got just a little crookedness there and a little long here. All right, and then I put some tear and tape on the back of here. And then I'm going to have to put a dimensional over here because it's going to be hanging off the edge. Well, come on here. All right. Doesn't want to come off. Oh, for goodness sakes. That little release paper doesn't want to come off. Why is that fighting with me so much? All right, that's going in the garbage. I am not going to fight with a stupid dimensional, hey? You did make me work overtime. Now, how about those extra 2 cards? Oh, you weren't here last night, Sala. 1, 2. There's your extra 2 cards. No worries. I think the card turned out really nice, so it's worth it. It is definitely worth it. Alrighty. Let's, oh, and then I put the dimensional on the wrong end. Figures. Figures. I had it upside down. Let's put our little baker's twine on here so I can conceal the ends. And let's lay this down here. All right, I think that's pretty close. It's on there. Alrighty. Nothing falls off yet, so that's a good thing. I think I want to try to put a little glue on the tip of there because that should not be coming up like that. So I'm going to actually put it down on these lower ones. There. So that end can still kind of pop up a little bit. Alrighty. All right, so that looks similar to the one that Stampin' Up! Did. Alrighty. Phew. You'll have to backpedal your way to the replay. There you go. Yeah, I usually let them cycle. Oh, my head was in the way too for a little bit. Sorry about that. I usually let them cycle through the YouTube process for pretty close to 24 hours now. Just so my views seem to go up a little bit more when I wait. When I wait to take it public. When I record, it's actually public, and then you know, YouTube makes it go private while they're analyzing it. So I just let it go now for almost 24 hours before I make it go public, but it should be public now because I did that before I went live tonight. All right. I'm just reading some of these notes. So on this one, so the previous card for tonight, you're very generous. You are very generous. All right. So this one is from the Delicate Pines with the velvet. This is embossed with the Peaceful Garden embossing folder. Well, thanks for popping in, Sal. I appreciate you watching and hanging in there with me and coming up with ideas. It's all about collaborating. Okay, let's... That one doesn't want to stay put here either. I'm just kind of struggling with things that don't want to behave. All right, so what dies did you use for the previous card, Fifi? Are you talking about this card here? Or the one from last night? And I'm looking at my video tonight too, and I mentioned it earlier, but it is not elongated. It's not distorted. So I think it might be, whoops, wrong way. I think it might be from my wireless mic. So the red one is from the Delicate Pines. This is the poinsettia that I used for here. And I used 2 layers. And then this is from the, let me think. It's here somewhere. Let me think. I thought it was from branching out, but it's not. Oh, here. It's from the Label Me Grateful. So there's this poinsettia here. So there's oak leaves, there's foliage, acorns, some berries. That's where these were from also. Those two. So that's the Label Me Grateful dies. Yeah, and, oh, yes. The berries for the velvet I did from there. The berries for this one were from Branching Out. They're very similar, but they're a little different. All right. So, Branching Out, Label Me Grateful, and the Delicate Pines. All right. So, Delicate Pines has a lot of stuff. And then these boughs are from the Snowflake die. And the foliage here is from here, the Delicate Pines. And then these are the berries that the red and yellow berries that I did that I didn't care for so much. So, yeah, if you've got the Label Me Grateful, you could certainly use a poinsettia from that or a set of poinsettias from that instead of just the one from the Delicate Pines. All right, so, phew. That was a lot of work, but it was worth it. I think these turned out really quite nicely. All right, so Label Me Grateful is going back over there. Branching Out, it's going here. That's all I got, ladies. It's 2:13 here. That's a long haul for 2 cards, but they're pretty intricate. And I even did some of the cutting ahead of time. Can you imagine how late it would be if I hadn't cut ahead? Oh my goodness. That would have probably added about half an hour. Alrighty. Yep, I saw that you had mentioned that you posted the chicken coop on my Facebook page. And I'll get pictures of these on the Facebook page. These, I think I already posted, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I might be behind on, I might need to post that one. So what thread did you post the chicken coop one on if you didn't find my house? Oh, you posted on the top one. You just answered that, I see. A little bit of a delay. All right. Most. So I don't see your house. Could I post one on top? Oh, the most. Okay. Yeah, that's my Monday open studio time post. All right. So I'm going to call it a night, ladies. I will probably get these posted later. We'll see if I feel like doing it now before I hunker down for a few hours of sleep. And everybody enjoy your day. Happy Tuesday. I think everybody's still in Tuesday, so happy Tuesday, and I'll see you, I don't know, 19 hour, 20, 21 hours, 22 hours, somewhere in there. I'll see you later. Thanks for all the hearts, everybody. I appreciate it. Feel free to join if you've not already joined, subscribed to my page. I see there's a couple people here that weren't chiming in yet. Feel free to chime in next time. You can see it's kind of a collaboration. So we're just all about sharing what we do, sharing what we love, and making cool cards. So until next time, happy crafting, everybody.